We will now continue with the question and answer session. Our first question comes from Panama via the fax, and here goes the question. For very small organizations who cannot afford quality consultants, do you have any suggestions about what we can do to implement total quality?
Yes, I'd suggest you do three things. One, sit down and define your business. What business are you in? What is your purpose? Two, list your customers, either by name or by segment or by industry. And then third, ask yourselves, do you know what your customers want? What are their requirements? Because that is the essence of quality.
Okay, and our next question again via the fax. What can I do, or what would you recommend that I do to convince my boss to learn about benchmarking?
Good question. I would, first of all, I would look at your competitors or potentially even your partners, suppliers, etc. Are any of them engaged in benchmarking, and is there a war story that you can take from that and share with your boss? Certainly there is information in the literature, and whether it's organizations like the National Quality Center in Houston or in your own country, there are probably quality organizations at a local university. I think you could find some reading materials and backup materials, but the best would be the war stories.
And what is the decision cycle there from the time that an organization is convinced to move into this kind of solution seeking to the time that it actually gathers data and sees some results?
There's no set period of time, but you could certainly be able to pull together and conduct a benchmarking study with a reasonable amount of resources in 6 months. To really do benchmarking, and that is having follow-up activities, you would be looking at a commitment of at least 18 months.
Very good, thank you. We go to Mexico for our next question. Go ahead, please.
Hello, and greetings from the Instituto Tecnológico Latinoamericano. We would like to ask the speaker, what attitude do you recommend to be able to incorporate in this new image, or this new era that we are seeing in globalization? What types of attitudes should we adopt?
First, flexibility. Two, a commitment to innovation, and that preceding that is curiosity. Curiosity about yourself, your organization, your industry. A willingness to take risks, and by risks I mean forecasting as best you can where things are going, and does that present opportunity for you? I think the biggest change is to keep an open mind and to not be afraid of what's happening.
Very good. Thank you. We go to Chihuahua for our next question. Go ahead, please.
Sí, buenos días.
Good morning. I'm calling from the economics faculty of the University of Chihuahua. The question is, how can we identify the best business practices on a global level if the leader companies in the world sometimes use completely different strategies, for example, in the Pepsi and Coca-Cola strategies, as we have seen?
I don't know if you're referring to a specific case or not, so I won't comment on it. Large organizations and all organizations have one basic thing in common, and that is their own survival and their own success. That is their own personal interests. As organizations like a Pepsi or a Coca-Cola become more aware of the realization of the global nature of their business and the need for them to cooperate and the need for them to recognize their interdependence, such as the situation that PepsiCo finds itself in now, I think those kinds of things will be overcome. However, you're still going to run into those roadblocks from time to time, and you just have to realize that in time it will change. We used to say all things will pass. They in fact will, and they'll pass more quickly in today's world.
Thank you. Our next question is from New Delhi, India, and it is about the significance of nonlinear success. How significant is that?
Highly. We have all been, many of us have all been educated in various statistical and predictable processes to try to forecast where businesses are going. We need to recognize that there's another dimension in today's world, that given our technologies and given our businesses, that things are not going to follow the same traditional, predictable methodologies as they did in the past. That in fact we may go through periods of time where there are greater losses before the returns come in. And we have to have the confidence that that will happen. Certainly I'm not saying that we abolish standard business practices, but recognize that there's a new dimension, that things don't always follow the A through C process. They will not always be that predictable. There will be, as somebody once advised me, the road to success is not a straight path. It's going to be a series of divisions.
Right, very good. Thank you for your excellent questions, but we have run out of time.